Welcome, everyone. I'm Jeff St. Laurent, and I help coaches transition to a full-time business. Today, we have a very special guest who did a very special thing, which is write a book. And we're going to be talking about that today. Before we get into that, I record all of these shows. I put them on my university at sellingcoaching.com. I have a ton of resources to help you transition to full-time. Start off on my homepage at sellingcoaching.com, enter your name and email, put you in my email community, give a ton of great valuable resources at each on every week. With that being said, I'm so excited to introduce my awesome long-term mentor coaching client, Simona Pappalardo. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Thanks for having me. Such a pleasure to be here.
So in the description, I gave a little description in 2024 about where you were with your job, etc. And we worked through this. You're doing this full-time now. And within 8 months, created your first 5-figure month. And early last year, like we're in the beginning of a new year now, early last year, I'm going to kind of bring people up to date, right? You're like, let's do a book, right? You wanted to write a book. And so literally while building the business and all that other stuff, it's a lot of stuff. We were working together to write a book. And how, as of right now, January 2026, when did it officially come out? It was like December, was it?
December 1st.
That's what I thought. Yeah, December 1st. So it's been out like, let's just call it just over a month.
Yep.
And so today we wanted to sit down and take you through the journey. Like this is, I had the opportunity to read through this book, like such a good book, Simona.
Thank you.
So let's rewind because, while people can benefit from this, obviously a lot of coaches will be watching this. And a lot of people, everyone has a book in them. It's just, will they actually take the time and do the book? And so let's rewind back to, if you can remember where the idea came from, and let's take them from there.
Yeah. So the idea really came during Christmas holidays of 2024. So exactly 1 year and a few days more than today, right? And it came because as I was working with you, right, in really understanding what was my niche and what I wanted to be recognized and remembered for, right, I started working very much on what is the message, what I want my message to be, what is my voice, if you want, right? And so that's when I started thinking about, wow, I could also put it in written form, right? Yes, it's great to do shorts and YouTube videos and all of that, but to go a little bit deeper, right? I needed, and I think that hopefully the readers will see that they needed a little bit more space. And so that's when the idea of the book came in my mind. And of course, it took me a few weeks to reflect upon it, right? It looks like a huge undertaking. I mean, to write a book, which it is, by the way, a little bit. It's a lot of work, but so worth it. So worth it. So after, let's call it 12 months, 13 months, having these in my hands is it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing.
It is so, and having the privilege myself to be a part of this with you, all the whole long journey way. It's so funny because anytime I do a book with a client, obviously they're doing all the work. I'm guiding them through a lot of the things, but they're doing all the heavy lifting. But I feel such a part, like when I got this in the mail, like, oh my God, like it just, whew. And having written a book myself, like I know the other end of the heavy lifting part. So it is a big deal, it is a big deal. And I can't wait till we're doing this again next year when you've reaped all of the benefits. It's already started, right? Yeah. But now talk us through, okay, we're decided you're writing a book. Talk us through the main portions of where this all actually, the pen hits the paper, so to speak, because I think that's an important, and the route you took with this, which is an important piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So following your advice, I really come to realize that the first thing for me was to also have people that would help me with the writing of the book. First of all, English is not my native language. So yeah, a little bit of limiting beliefs there, maybe, or gremlins, or whatever we want to call it, right? But yes, I was like, oh my gosh, am I even capable of writing a book in English? I know I speak fairly well English, but writing is a little bit different, right? And so that's where I think having decided early on who would be my editors really, really helped me. Because then talking to them, I immediately realized that my job wasn't about the grammar. My job wasn't about the typos, you know what I'm saying, or even the correct sentence structure. There could have been people helping me with that. What my job really was the message, which is exactly why I wanted to write a book in the first place, right? Your editor can help you with all the syntax and all the things about making things clear. But if you are not clear what you are trying to say first and foremost, and you're making their job difficult, right? So I think that when I started understanding that the real goal of me writing a book wasn't to be the next Shakespeare, you know what I'm saying? I'm not after that. I really was after the message. Then I also realized, right, that the form, the English, the grammar could have been taken care by someone else, right? And that has given me the opportunity to really narrow down on, okay, what I want this book to be about. And you gave me some great tips also about, okay, this is a hybrid memoir and self-help book. So for example, there are out there, you can even Google them, right? How many words should it have? And so by starting with the structure, then immediately came clear to me about, okay, how do I start, let me say, divide and conquer, right? So if it is 50,000 words, right? Now I need this many chapters. And how do I fill them in with my stories? It was the discovery. And then the other thing that I started doing immediately, I put it out there. I put it out there during a webinar, for example. I told people that I was writing a book. I didn't have one single word written yet, but it was my way of keeping myself accountable. I knew that once I was committing to this and in public, you can call it I was stuck with it, or you could say I was empowered with it, right? Anyway, I knew that I was gonna make it true, and so
it's actually both.
Yeah,
stuck with it and empowered with it, because honestly, there are days when it's just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. You're stuck with it. And then there are other days where, and then it can turn into empowerment. So it's a really important step. I want to highlight that. Keep going.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was critical. I did it in some Facebook group I'm part of. And as I said, I had the opportunity to do a webinar with some potential clients. I also wanted, right? Yes, of course, you reap most of the benefits after you have the book in your hands, but you can start messaging. And this is where also you help me understand this. You can start messaging the fact that you are an upcoming author, right? And people start being like supportive of you. And that's something important, I think. So yeah, that's how it started. Between February and March, let me say, that's when I really was like, yep, this is happening.
Yeah. And so you can see, like, I want to highlight you went all in. You decided, to me, deciding is cutting off all other possibilities. You told people, you leverage yourself. So now you're like, okay, now I'm writing this book. Come up with a timeline, etc. So now talk us through from there, because this is where, like, how did you end up writing the book? Talk about that, because that's a unique path you took there. And then just the kind of the process of it all, over the last like 11 months. So people get an idea.
So I would say that from a timeline perspective, I was clear. I had this vision, right? That I wanted this book to be under people's Christmas tree. I don't know if because it came to my mind during Christmas writing a book. But anyway, I was thinking like, wow, how cool would it be if someone would buy this book, not only for themselves, but putting it under the Christmas tree for someone that they love and maybe needs to hear what this book is all about, right? And so because of that, that's when I decided the 1st of December publication date. I mean, at the beginning it was just December, let me say, right? But that gave me a timeline. And then I work backward from that, right? So working with my editor, that was a little bit more expert than me in understanding how long it takes to, do the editing, the final editing, the printing, and all of that, we kind of understood that we needed to be done between September and October, right? Then I had the opportunity also to be a presenter and a speaker at a large conference at the end of September in Atlanta, the Military Influencer Conference, right? And so that was also the other milestone that crystallized the timeline, because I wanted to use the book already to organize my speech, right? In fact, the speech was with some extracts of the book, which wasn't yet published, but I could use them and start also, by the way, seeing how people would have reacted to the stories I tell in the book, right? That was pretty good because, by the way, I was physically present there. I could see people's eyes, and like when you put a book out in the world, you don't necessarily immediately see how people are reacting, but if you are doing a speaking engagement, you have that direct feedback, right? That mattered to me. And so those were end of September. In order to be there at the conference was end of manuscript, which doesn't mean the manuscript was perfect. There were still typos and things, but it was done, right? And the last word was written down. And so from there, honestly, we divided it in fairly equal spaces. Again, my editor suggested to take it slower, a little bit earlier. It would take more time, and I totally agree with that. Like the first chapter was the hardest, and still to this very day, I will be honest, is the one I'm the least happy about, because then I don't know, I got into the groove of it. You know what I'm saying? I still feel the first chapter is good. It's a good story. It sets the stage, but nevertheless, I feel like, oh yeah, I grew as a writer, if you want to use that word, right? I grew, and I feel like, oh my gosh, the end is like, oh yeah, that's 100% what I wanted to do. So that was what how I divided and separated all of the work. And then honestly, I kept going. It was a very interactive process. I cannot speak highly enough of the people that helped me on the journey, because we were really going back and forth. There were certain parts that honestly they rewrote for me. There were certain parts that they added. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. And I mean, it was very important for me to have this high level of collaboration in writing the book.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's the thing too, is people hear this too, like it's a collaboration, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, the work we did, and then the editors, the people that you're going back and forth with, the people, you have a team of people around you that helps you put something like this out, right? So you're not doing it by yourself.
No,
I mean, you're driving the creative and the story and the narrative, and you're shaping the vision of what you want. Like you talk about the dates, the timelines, the topics.
Yes. I mean, let me also tell you, like, of course, I hire someone for the cover, right? Yeah. Like that was another piece of work by itself. I'm not a graphic designer, not my thing at all, right? So having someone, right? It was also a discovery process, to be honest with you. I told you this already. I will never look at a book as I used to, because now I see how many choices go behind these, like the font, the size of the font, and are you going to write it in cursive or in all capitals, and the colors, and what is the right background, if it is a business book, if it's more of a memoir. Like there is so much. I mean, I perfectly remember going to a bookstore one day trying to look from far away, right? Like, okay, what are the book cover that jumps at me, right? Mm-hmm. And I perfectly remember the bookstore assistants be looking at me like, do you need any help? Because who does that? Like, I mean, you go to a bookstore and you go close to the bookshelf, but my reasoning, my process was completely different, because now I was on the other side. I wasn't anymore a reader, but I was trying to make the right decision for my book. And that was a huge learning, right?
Huge learning. From the cover to the writing to the team. Mm-hmm. Now talk about like towards, as it was culminating, the events that you did. I think because like you did it up right, like you really like how as you started to launch the book, the gala, I mean, talk about the promotion that you've started. And when I say started, I mean you've been doing a lot, but it's really we're only just getting started. But you've done so much.
Yeah.
Talk about that because, mind you, I think because what I said to you early on is like because when I did my book, I did it really quickly and I sacrificed everything else in my business to write the book. So I came out 3-4 months later. Yeah, it was a short amount of time, but I stopped everything else. Whereas while you were doing this over the years, let's call it, right, you were still running your business, your clients, you were doing what I call a phase one marketing, opening up conversations, networking, growing, right? So you did a lot of that piece. So start to talk about, now you've talked about like, oh, the decision to the logistics, the team, et cetera, the choices. Now, as we're getting closer, October, November, December, talk about the promotion, the events that you held, because that's big.
Yes. And so this was also something that you suggested, the editor suggested. I'm like, okay, if everyone is suggesting this, you know what? They have a point here. And everyone has talked to me about the importance of marketing the book at the same time as you're writing the book. You do not want to do the marketing only at the end of it. You want to prepare your audience, right? And start talking about the book even before the book is out there, right? And so that's why I started very early on. I've honestly lost count on how many podcasts I have been. Yes, I've started organizing book clubs. So this is also something some experts have suggested to me, like have your books being reviewed by book clubs even before it's printed, because even if the editor, look, they are professional and they do the best work possible, more eyes can be helpful, right? And so in that sense, also the book clubs can start talking. Like these are people that are reading books, right? So if you have book clubs reading your book, they now can suggest it to other book clubs or to their families and friends and all of that. And you start generating a wave of people that want to, like we talked about, having already your book pre-sold, even if it's not even available. So one of the things we did together, we immediately created like a landing page, right, where people could buy the book before the book was even out there. And of course, right, you cannot expect that everyone, like the vast majority of people will buy it on the publishing date, but the people that have been following you, they will trust you enough to start even, putting out those $25 or $10 for the Kindle version, right? Just to be the first ones that get the book. So that's something I did. And then, yes, the amazing thing that happened was that I started also having opportunities for real life events. And I'm so happy. And also, honestly, I'm going to say I'm very proud of myself because actually I had the opportunity of doing my official book launch party in Manhattan, New York, which was amazing. First of all, it was I think it was the 10th of December. So imagine already New York, Christmas time, just by itself, it's a story, right? And then on top of that, I am there. By the way, another very touching thing, amazing stories. My best friend came from Italy to support me in New York. So we have been knowing each other for 35 years and we have never taken a trip, only me and her. And this was the opportunity to have her, hey, come to New York with me. So it was like, I mean, like, how cool is that? This is something that, I don't know, maybe I'll write my next book about it. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like it's an Hallmark movie. I am in New York doing an event, marvelous event. My best friend is there. We make a long weekend out of it. I mean, I would have not dreamt it in my wildest dream. You know what I'm saying? But it happened. It really did.
Well, that's the great part is you created this vision and you did dream it up. Just these are some of the amazing effects that come from the action that you've taken,
Yes. Yes. And I mean, I do have people that have told me, we have put it under the Christmas tree. Like, I didn't know, right, that vision that I had. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, I knew I would have sold the book. I mean, I was confident about that, but I was like, how many people will really put it under the Christmas? And instead, mails and messages I started putting in. I bought this for my wife. I bought this for my cousin. I bought this for my daughter. Like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, I kid you not, every time I was receiving a message, there was a little tear coming down, a tear of joy.
Powerful. It's powerful.
Because yes, it's like what I have envisioned. And as I said, by the way, the party in New York was also a client of mine that connected me with a bookstore. How cool is that? Like, I mean, I've never lived in New York, and I had people coming to my event in New York. I mean,
yeah, and that's the point, is you don't live in New York.
I do not. I live in Chicago, by the way.
Right. So it's not like she's just right up the road. It's just like, no, you did an event, halfway across the country, in Manhattan, you know what I mean, through connections, through that's the thing about a book, is the doors and connections that will start to open. Never mind the value of the book itself, and taking the time to read it and digest it, which phenomenal content in here.
Yeah.
Like you said, beautiful memoir and development.
Really
I'm really you as the coach, the question. That was very,
yeah.
very cool.
So that's also what I'm really proud about, is the structure I've given to the book. So of course it's a memoir with all my stories, but let's be honest, the stories are an excuse, because I wanted something that you could read very easily. Right? I didn't want to make one of those books that you're like, when is this finishing? Right? No, that's what I wanted, something that people could read and enjoy. But at the same time, at the end of each chapter, there is this section, I don't know if you can see it, which is called Now It's Your Turn, which basically means, okay, I know, dear reader, that you're not living exactly the same story that I am, but there are some theme in that story that I have condensed for the readers. Now it's your turn. Now, what are you going to do with those lessons? What are you going to do to make life the way you want to really live it, right? Based on some of the reflections that I make and all that. So, yes, I think it's a coaching book. Ultimately, this is like, some of the questions are really things that I've asked some of my clients, some others no, of course. But yeah, that was the main purpose of writing a book. It's not a book for myself. Is really a book where you put the reader front and center, and you're trying to service the reader, right? Which is what we do as coaches. So
absolutely. Yeah. As we start to pull this together, talk about some of what were the biggest challenges along the way, because anyone watching this can feel your energy and enthusiasm. Like, it's so, when I was connected with you right away, I'm like, oh my God, there's someone else like myself who has this, like bouncing off the walls energy. And then behind the scenes, honestly, I think being along, week by week with you, really for the year, I would say 90+% of it, you were bouncing off the walls with enthusiasm.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of disillusionment and a lot of just exhaustion, especially as it comes towards the end. Talk about just briefly some of that space, because it's a lot of work, and it gets to you sometimes along the way.
Yeah. So definitely I would say at a certain point I was a little bit fatigued, right? It was very like in July, I would say end of July, beginning of August, I had this milestone of the end of September finishing the book, right? I mean, let's be honest, roughly half of it was written, right? Because I told you the beginning is lower, the process is lower. And so on one side, I wanted to already be October, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, be like, oh no, it's already August, I don't have time. That thing of like wanting to be done because of the fatigue, but at the same time, understanding there is so much more that I need to do. And so that was something I also needed to manage, right? On one side, keep grinding if you want, right? Because this is also something that writing a book, as you said it yourself, anyway, is for the long is a long-term goal. Even if I did it only in 1 year, the reality is that now I can start seeing the benefit, right? For the first year, you almost put in a lot of work and you don't necessarily, yeah, of course, I've been in podcasts. People have shown me support and all of that. That is energizing. But let's be honest, you don't know how many books you're gonna sell. You don't know how people are reacting to it until you don't launch, right? And so that waiting time sometimes was a little bit fatiguing for me. You put in a lot of work, but you do not reap the reward just yet. So thank you so much for reminding me and telling me, yes, Simona, don't worry, it will come. Because there were moments it was like, what if I'm doing this for nothing?
It can feel that way sometimes, right?
It did.
Completely.
It did. And then also I will tell you this, after finishing the manuscript, that was another, and that was a surprise. I didn't expect how much. I thought that, okay, manuscript done, I'm done. Nope. There is so much more that needs to happen. So many choices that you need to make in areas that, honestly speaking, I have no knowledge about, like which font gives the best idea of professionalism. I have no clue. I mean, I'm an engineer as a background, guys. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I've always used corporate font and I was okay with that, before becoming a coach myself. And so there were a lot of choices. And this is also something that you helped me with in certain areas. You also told me, in the end of the day, the most important thing is that you feel that this is the right choice for you. I think there were moments in which I was like spiraling about what is the perfect font for my audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When actually there isn't really an answer about that. The most important thing is just make a choice, right? And I'll tell you one little secret: the photos at the back of my book, I have not chosen it because I was stuck. There were 3 photos. Like, of course, I went for a photo shoot in preparation of the book, and so I have 100 photos, right? There were 3, right? And I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and I could not choose the one that it was right. You know what? I told my best friend, is either this is number 1, this is number 2, and this is number 3. Which one do you like? And she said, I don't know, I think it was number 3. And you know what? I'm like, done. This is sometimes also what we need to remember, right? The fatigue of making the choices versus just making it. And it's going to be fine. Nobody knows what are the other 2 photos that are slightly different, right? Yes. I know what the difference is, but the reality is that it doesn't matter for the people that see the book. And so why am I stressing over this? So there was something there about, okay, learning to, at a certain point, make the decision and just go with it. And when you cannot, guess what? My best friend, I'm sure she would have chosen the photo that she really thought was best for me. She loves me, there's no problem in, and so I made her make that choice because I couldn't. I was so fatigued with all of that.
Yeah, and that's why I say entrepreneurship is a very decisive place. It's a series of micro decisions every single day. And the quicker you decide, it's not so much about the speed or the urgency of it, but it's about creating micro decisions every day, and just going down that path. Now, obviously, when you have a team, people like myself, I think that it helps guide those decisions. But ultimately, I remember, we've got so many sessions and audios back and forth and emails around decisions. Ultimately, like, the advice and the thoughts and the guidance was given to you. Ultimately, you had to decide, okay, now here's the information. Which way do I want to go? Great, decision done. Now, next one, there's another whole set of scenarios. And that's really where this comes in, is it's a set of decisions just all along the way.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so if someone wants to get a hold of this, I'm going to put the link in the descriptions as well as in the comments to this. But where and how can they get a hold of this?
Absolutely. The best way to get it is on my website, which is www.coachingwithsimona.com/book. There is one whole page dedicated to the book. It explains exactly who is it for, what my coaching practice is all about, and why this book also helps specifically people that are going through especially cultural adaptation. So I coach a lot of expats and global leaders. I've lived in different continents. I have lived in 3 different continents. Right? Yes. And so the book has also helped me. By the way, it's funny. I understood better and better what my niche was also by writing the book. You know what I'm saying? Because so much of this book is about my experiences abroad and what it meant for my leadership to be exposed to people that are very different from me and culturally different. And that's what I help people do as they go and lead international teams or, as I say, move here to the United States, for example. I really help them understand how to fit in without losing their authenticity. And that's why it's called Authentically Yours, because no matter where you are in the world, you are you, and it's you. The world deserves to see the through you, the authentic you. So that's the premise there.
Yeah, and also through your personal stories, you really show the reader how you were able to do that for themselves, and I felt like that alone allowed someone to, like, you gave them permission to do that through what you did, which I know was a big hope of yours.
Yes, absolutely.
Simona, thank you so much. This has been incredible. You're incredible. Huge congratulations. You are just this amazing rocket ship that's just has this phenomenal trajectory, and so proud and honored to be a part of this journey with you. That you've been trusting me along the way, and so excited to see where we can take this, because now it's all about getting this out there and getting in front of people, which is, there's a lot of reasons to write a book, but now it's like I say, it's a 5-pound business card. Like we are going to get this in front of so many people, and what that's going to do to your business, within this next calendar year is going to be, we can't even predict it.
That's awesome. And thank you for always giving me, that, I want to call it safety net of reminding me, yes, you're doing the right thing, right? Because yes, this has been a huge investment, the biggest investment so far I've done in my business. And so it was so helpful to have someone saying, yeah, keep going, keep steady. You are on the right track. And yes, I cannot wait to organize a speaking engagement, be in front of people, and really bring the message, because I truly believe that this is a message worth hearing. And so I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone listening. I'll put the link in the comments and also in the description where you can go get a copy of this book. Thanks, Simona. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. Bye.
Happy New Year.